Hi. Greetings from Wisdom Lord Raphael. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell icon and don't miss any content. This is the light novel of that time I got reincarnated as a slime. If you haven't watched previous video, I will leave the link on the description box, or you can click here. Let's start. This is Tensura Light Novel Volume 17. Tensura Light Novel. Volume 17. Fragments Across Space-Time. Chapter 2. Distant Memories. Nearing the end. Blown away by Velgrind, Pulsinella could not understand what had happened to him. Although he was inferior to Cornu, he should have had absolute power. And yet, he was left with unbearable pain. What? Why am I feeling such pain like a human being? The reason is simple. The crimson cardinal aura of Velgrind will burn anyone it touches. However, this time, she didn't intend to kill him, so she was holding back as best she could. Had he realized that, Pulsinella would not have repeated his folly any further. But he was more intoxicated with himself as a king than he had ever imagined. That's why he was so blind to reality and went into things he shouldn't have. Surprising or petty. This is the speech of a wretched little man who can't even understand the gap between them. Even Velgrind had no idea it was directed at her. So she didn't care and moved on to the next person. She stood behind David, who was staring at Billy, and smacked him on the head with her palm. The cardinal aura destroyed the demon in one blow. It was an impressive feat of strength, but it was just like Velgrind. Meanwhile, Pulsinella also moved in. He didn't like what he saw and sent orders to Delia. Give me that spear. What? You cannot bring out the spear's true value. That spear will be more valuable to me than its disappointing owner. Pulsinella stole Delia's spear. He senses its power and smiles, thinking he can win. Meanwhile, as Delia is pushed away, her former comrades rush in. You okay? Bright calls out on behalf of the others. Hearing that, tears start to fall down Delia's cheeks. You're stupid. I'm not human. I'm a demon that has invaded this world. But you're crying. Those tears are the proof that you're still human. Bright. In general, your memory is intact, right? Let's get rid of the demon, you know. You're so brazen, you can't lose to a demon. At that moment, Delia was sure she heard the sound of something crunching somewhere in her mind. Hey Catalina, if you're going to comfort me, you should comfort me properly. What do you mean I'm brazen? That's what I meant. I had faith that you'd come back to me. Catalina hugs Delia, crying. And the others too. No more words are needed. Delia laughed from the bottom of her heart as her friends shouted in joy one by one. Seeing Delia and her friends, Pulsinella snorted unpleasantly. Good grief. That's why humans. Even David has come to his senses at the hands of Velgrind. Delia was his only loyal subordinate, but it seems that her human ego has won out. If that's the case, then he can't expect to get Masahiko as well. It seemed that his human ego had begun to win, and he should have thought that a joint struggle was impossible. But he sees no problem. Because Pulsinella now has the most powerful weapon in the world. This performance is mythical grade. It still refuses to believe that I'm the master, but it's strong enough. It can handle that damn Velgrind. And he was doing the math. He was a helplessly unrefined man. But somewhere inside, alarm bells were ringing. He had found information about Velgrind from the missing demon's knowledge. If he had scrutinized it carefully, he would have been able to find out more. I'm the only one I can rely on, right? Very well. I will take care of you myself. Do you think he's talking to me? You're really a stupid woman. There's no other. Guberia. He announced his intention to kill her openly, but it was a bad move. Until now, he had been overlooked because she was not interested in him, but now he was recognized as an enemy. Still, Velgrind thought there was a chance that Pulsinella could turn back from a demon to a human and was taking it easy on Pulsinella to keep him from dying. What's really annoying is that since Pulsinella had only taken over the demon's consciousness, his heart was still intact. With this blow, it was shattered. So, our mission is over. This man has conquered the demon on his own, so there are no more demons to be taken over. Velgrind declared radiantly. The 6 phantom leaders were present. David and Emil had been stripped of their demon powers by Velgrind and are now normal human beings again. Li Jinlong and Delia, as well as Amari Masahiko, have reclaimed themselves. The demon's power remains, but that didn't bother Velgrind. And Pulsinella had shattered the demon's core, but something was wrong. Kekiki. Thank you very much. The damned seal that warned me of my power has been broken. The demon's power had been fully absorbed, and even its form had begun to mutate. His skin had turned pale, and his eyes were red. He was different from the lower-ranked ones, he even had wings like an angel. The robe he wears is a modified version of the armor the demon used to wear. Of course, because it had been in existence for so long, it boasted a considerably high performance in the legendary class. The spear in his hand, which he had taken from Delia, had also been transformed into a scepter. In other words, it had now accepted Pulsinella as its owner. Pulsinella's own magicules are insufficient to fully free him. But still, Pulsinella feels as if his energy has doubled. Pulsinella is in a frenzy of euphoria, and he is at his peak. He was foolishly growing to think that no one could rival him now. At that, Velgrind snorted. Could it be that he's a real idiot? But she lets Pulsinella do as he pleases. She's the absolute strongest in the world, and she's not going to panic. Unknowingly, Pulsinella, in his full form, is smiling broadly. This is a wonderfully comforting feeling. This is a power so great it could beat Kornu-sama. Pulsinella's omnipotence was so great that he could even say so boastfully. In fact, his power had risen to the level of an awakened demon lord, and Pulsinella felt that he had surpassed his limits. However, this was only the idea of someone with a small measure of knowledge. That's impossible. There's no way you're going to win the game when there's a difference of more than 10 times. It was such a ridiculous misunderstanding that Velgrind couldn't help but poke fun at it. And yet Pulsinella is furious when it is pointed out to him. Oh dear, what a pity it is to be a fool who does not know reason. Everyone but himself thought that it was him. Velgrind finally realized that Pulsinella seemed to be undermining her. But she didn't know why. He seems to think he can beat Velgrind, but she has no idea what he's basing this on. She's known demons for a long time, so she didn't expect someone who didn't know her. But if he's a minor phantom, it's no surprise that he doesn't know her. But a former angel of the three marshals would have trembled just at the mention of Velgrind's name. It was a natural reaction when faced with the powerful true dragon. Yet, Pulsinella's reaction was very unnatural. That was why Velgrind was confused, wondering if he might be mistaken. It's been bothering me for a while now, but you're pretty rude. You didn't mean me when you said the word fool now, did you? After a long journey, Velgrind has become surprisingly patient. In her own estimation, she's full of charity, if not a bit more compassionate than she was before. That's why she asked that instead of getting angry, but Pulsinella didn't get the picture. I don't know. Apparently, you're a little strong, but most of the time I'm confident. There is a whole world out there with more to come. Oh, he really doesn't know, Velgrind realized. He had overcome the phantom ego and was acting by Pulsinella's will. And at the same time, she pitied Pulsinella, who was possessed by a demon and prioritized knowledge, as opposed to Masahiko, who was possessed by a demon and only wanted power. That's why this guy has grown to this point without knowing the important things. She was so convinced that she was more amazed than angry. Velgrind ignored Pulsinella, who was making some kind of speech, and asked Jensei and the others. What is the right thing to do with this man? I shattered the demon's core, but its power is still intact. Even I can't help him in this situation. That means you can't take the power away. But Pulsinella misunderstood. Kekiki, of course. It's too late to be afraid now. He mistakenly understood that Velgrind had declared to be no match for him. He was a man of infinitely happy thought processes. For the spirit of a being who so frankly admits defeat, you may now join as my subordinate. I thank you for your mercy and invite you to join me at the head of the household. Shut up. Another slap from Velgrind. Unable to react to this, Pulsinella now realizes that this is crazy. Could I be mistaken? Thinking so, he tries to decipher the memories he's been searching for. But he couldn't do it. When the demon's heart was shattered by Velgrind, all memory information was lost. This is not good. Without knowing why, Pulsinella became agitated. Leaving Pulsinella alone, Velgrind resumes her conversation with Jensei. It's going to be too much trouble for you guys to keep this man alive. I think it's better to kill him, what do you think? Velgrind doesn't care if Pulsinella lives or dies. But she can't leave him unattended. As long as Akira Sakura is alive, everything's alright with Velgrind. But after that, she doesn't know what will happen. Velgrind has no intention of taking responsibility and will always travel to find the next piece of soul. In that case, there will be no one left to stop Pulsinella. Besides, she knows that Rudra's reincarnation had happened many times in this world and his bloodline had been passed down. It was no fun for Velgrind to let Pulsinella do as she pleased. It was obvious that Jensei's people couldn't handle it and that was why it would be quicker to take care of it here. That's certainly true, but no one from Rosium was here. When only your own heroes are killed, there will always be some lingering effects. Even if you realize that it was a fair decision, it won't be fun. Velgrind is worried about that and asks what to do. In other words, it's not the kindness of Velgrind that keeps Pulsinella alive. She simply concludes that she might cause trouble for Akira if she kills him on her own. That's why she left the decision to someone else. Since everyone is from another country, they will be hard to judge. After consulting with all of them, she decided that, if they chose to let Pulsinella go here, that was fine. Aside from Masahiko, the others could also read Velgrind's intentions. So they felt free to speak their minds. There's no other choice but to get rid of him. Tell them he was possessed by a demon and that I did it. If Rosium demands my custody, you can give it to me without a care in the world. When Masahiko said this, Jensei had a hard time with it. No, I agree to take care of it, but you won't be a victim. I'll explain the situation and ask you to understand. It's Azalea's people who are on board with this. That's right. If you didn't understand what was going on, then you can put pressure on them. We at Azalea will help you. I'm afraid I have a problem with that statement, Commander. But I agree with the idea of getting rid of it. Too much power brings bad luck. That's what my grandfather used to say. I think Pulsinella-san's unhappiness is partly to blame. Billy and Emile also expressed their approval, remonstrating David's remarks. Incidentally, Laurent Hayes, Emile's grandfather, would only turn to Velgrind for really trivial matters. Remembering this, Velgrind smiled as an afterthought. The Chinese are silent in a tolerant stance. They don't have good feelings because of Rosium attacking the land. That is why they refrain from speaking. The last were those of Arsha, but they were ready to kill. It doesn't matter why. Let's kill him. That's right. He pushed Delia away and even took away her weapon. I'd kill him with my own hands if I could. Well, that's right. I see no reason to disagree. Same to the right. And, well, they were angry that their friends had been hurt and the comments continued with no weight. Pulsinella heard this and knew that his situation was very dangerous. This woman, Velgrind, is going to kill me. But before that happens, he thought to come up with a plan to come back to life. Secretly, he put all my heart and soul into this plan. And with his back to Velgrind, he aimed for a sneak attack. He had abandoned his pride as a saint. Chivalry is useless when you're between life and death. You will die. Take this, my soulful blow. It was a mystical art in the Holy Spirit world, where evil spirits are destroyed with the help of the gods and Buddha. Add to this the power of demons and you have an immense rush of energy that has never before been observed in this world. The aftermath alone was devastating. The earth trembled and the sky shook. The base that had been rebuilt as a demon stronghold couldn't withstand the impact and began to collapse. Not only had it survived a bombing, but it was stronger than a nuclear shelter. The distance that lies between Pulsinella and Velgrind will be filled in less than a second. That much damage was done in that instant. It was clear how tremendous the attack was. I won. No life form could withstand this power. Now I will be the ruler of this world. Pulsinella witnessed this moment, trying to prove his victory. Velgrind's defenseless back was pierced by this energy in the shape of a spear. And yet, Velgrind was unharmed. It didn't work. It couldn't work. It couldn't work because the other party Velgrind. The energy that could even wipe out this entire continent in an instant was instantly dissipated. I'll get to the bottom of this in a moment, so sit tight and wait. As soon as she said this as if it was nothing, Pulsinella could not help but realize that he would never win. He would never be able to beat Velgrind. Maybe things would have turned out differently if he'd given up then. But it makes no sense to assume that. Pulsinella had done something he shouldn't have done at the wrong time. That's all for today, hope you guys enjoy it. Please check my other videos. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and hit the notification icon. And don't miss any updates. Thank you for watching.